once again to the Thacker Mountain Radio Hour, coming to you tonight from Off Square Books on the Square in Oxford, Mississippi. Thank you. Welcome to the Thacker Mountain Radio Hour. As we mentioned, we're at All Square Books, our home right here on the square in Oxford, Mississippi. Some fine talent for you on the show tonight. Jawan Lee is here. She's going to play some violin, some fiddle, and some flute. She told me you don't have to say flautist anymore. It's okay to say flutist. She's a flutist and a violinist, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen Chopek, he plays every instrument. Has 2 albums out in which he plays all of the instruments. At one time, he was the drummer for John Mayer. Y'all remember John Mayer? Stephen Chopek, fine songwriter, musician, will be here. Alexander Weinstein is here with his new collection of stories, Universal Love, about robots and our phones taking over our lives, ladies and gentlemen. I blame it on that little vacuum cleaner that rolls around by itself. Yeah, that's when it all started. It's been all messed up since then. Hey, but these guys are still independent and doing it here on planet Earth. Y'all welcome our house band. It's the Yellow Bushwhackers.
Just too little of what the world needs now. Love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now, love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow. There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. Oh, listen, Lord, if you want to know what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for just for what the world needs now.
The Yellow Bushwhackers, y'all. Ricky Burkhead, Slade Lewis, Mark Jacobone, Paul Tate, the Yellow Bushwhackers. What the world needs now is love. Paying tribute to our collection of stories today, Universal Love, where the robots and the phones all get together and do us all in. We probably have it coming, I don't know. Jawan Lee, what an interesting story here. Jawan, born in Korea, moved here, moved back to Korea, moved back here, to here being Oxford, Mississippi, went to Oxford High School, graduated from the University of Mississippi, But yeah, she got a lot of bang for her buck. Elected to the University of Mississippi Hall of Fame. Thank you very much. You're going to come on this show more often, aren't you? We sing your praises. Principal flutist, mind you, for the University of Mississippi Wind Ensemble violinist for our local symphony orchestra, now pursuing her master's in music education with an emphasis on violin performance. I have it on good authority that she plays not only the violin, y'all, but the fiddle. Yeah, y'all please welcome Joanne Lee.
Just so everybody thinks of me as, violinist, so I am going to play some violin, and then maybe I'll play some other violin side of it, so we'll see. also flutist. I mean, it doesn't have to be flautist because that's just too bougie sounding. I'm not really about that. So here we are, just hearing a little bit of like my flute. It's rather interesting, so I hope y'all can bear with me. because we're gone. I get to finally wear my cowboy boots with like a purpose, so yay.
Jawan Lee, y'all. Let her hear you. Let her hear you. So great. Thank you so much. Ooh, somebody needs to record an album and put it out. Ma'am. I don't know, I'm just saying. How about that? That was great. And the Yellow Bushwhackers backing her up. Yes. They're classical in their own way, ladies and gentlemen. They are the flout to her flute, I'm afraid. I want to remind you, you're listening to the Thacker Mountain Radio Hour. You're hearing us on WUMS 92.1 FM and on the stations of Mississippi Public Broadcasting and Alabama Public Radio. We'd like to thank our sponsors, the Art Council of Clinton, AT&T, David and Sean Brevard, Cannon Motors, Cannon Motors. Did you see the 84-year-old young sank a putt at halftime of the Ole Miss basketball game from one end of the court to the other and won a free car at 84 years old. I mean, dead on. So great. We need to have her on. Bring that car. Delta Music Institute, Doyce H.D.'s Foundation, The End of All Music, Graduate Hotel, The Ink Spot, the Juke Joint Festival, the Lamar, a master planned community, Larry and Michael Johnson Family Foundation, Livingston Merchants Association, Main Attraction, Emporium and Coffee Bar, the Mary C. O'Keefe Cultural Center, Margot Russell, Alabama Visual Artist, Mississippi Arts Commission, Molly and Mark Meeks, Community Foundation for Mississippi, Party Waiting to Happen, Dr. Ralph and Douglas Vance, Ron and Becky Fader Charitable Foundation, Snooky and Mary Lou Williams Foundation of Water Valley, Mississippi. Look at you. Southside Gallery, the good folks at Square Books, Taproot Audio Design, the Lyric Oxford, Trustmark Bank, the Ware Foundation, Visit Oxford, City Grocery, and the Friends of Thacker Mountain Radio. More information on becoming a Thacker backer at thackermountain.com. How about old Mark Jacobone? So great. Thank you, brother. Alexander Weinstein was actually here in October of 2016 with your previous collection of stories, Children of the New World. Very successful collection, named a notable book of the year by the New York Times, NPR, Electric Literature. This new collection from Henry Holt is called Universal Love. It explores the effect technology has on human compassion and even how we love. The result is equal parts funny and terrifying. Publishers Weekly, troubling and compassionate, channeling Ray Bradbury with contemporary allegories. Weinstein will make readers think twice about their relationship to technology. Y'all please welcome Alexander Weinstein. Thank you for being here.
Oh, pleasure to be back.
We're talking about, this is not exactly science fiction. When I was a little boy in the 1800s, it would have been. But we're talking about facial recognition, and now instead of picking up your phone, the characters in your book, maybe I'm saying 20 years in the future or something.
Yeah, that's about right.
They just scroll Facebook with their eye, with their retina. Never raise their hands to it, and play games and look at cat videos with the chip in their eye. You know.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm sort of laughing, but it's not that crazy, right?
A lot of the things I write end up becoming reality within like 5 years or 10 years, so it might even be sooner, some of this stuff.
Yeah. To get right to it, all the stories are great. The first one is such a grabber, the Year of Nostalgia. Yes. And the idea is bring back a loved one based on all the data and digital info you can find and turn them into a hologram, and they can come sit on the couch with you and talk to you. Grandma, your beloved dog Fido. So creepy.
And part of the story is that the loved ones end up liking the holograms better than the original parents.
Yeah. I guess I don't want to give too much away, but the mom who has passed away, she wasn't much of a digital person, but even the love letters and paper trails she left, they were able to digitize and make her more interesting than she was.
That's right. They can upload all of that.
Yeah. It's scary, but there's humor in it. The humor is organic. For instance, the holograms, you can turn them off whenever you're ready to put Grandma to bed. Just flip it off. I'm going to bed, Grandma. And the poor guys, they're having reunions in the nursing home, and the poor guy's dancing with his wife, and you and I can't see her. Only he can see her because she's got the chip. So the poor guy's like twerking like this, and you can't even see his wife. And it's sad funny.
That's right. There's also widow bowling clubs where you can go and bowl with the lost guys and things like that.
Again, we laugh, but it may not be that far off. As I read the stories, I thought, how far is this going? Because again, it's semi-plausible. And we were even talking about, I've heard of some of the people of today would rather date online rather than meet in person. I don't do IRL real good, in real life.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's a lot of my students, too, that say that they would rather text than talk to somebody, right? Or send an email rather than ever pick up a phone or call somebody that they might want to go on a romantic date with. And so this is part of what I'm writing about in this collection. Really, how do we find love in this technology that we're quickly moving into the future so quickly with?
You have a story in here called Comfort Porn, where people flip through images that are pleasant images of their family or friends, or people who they wish were their family or friends, before they go out for a night to sort of make them feel better. And it's just not too far off. That's
right. You can watch hours of people waving to you and saying how good it is to see you again.
I mean, at this very second, you can go on YouTube and watch 4 hours of a crackling fire, right?
That's right. And somebody told me that there's actually about 2 hours of pillow talk that you can watch, which made me think, okay, I guess I'm writing realism at this point.
I mean, do you see, you have kids,
I do.
What do you see, and maybe their kids, this sort of stuff?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's my son is the first listener to these stories, and so he will tell me everything I get wrong about the technology and bring me up to speed, because I'm not I don't do a lot of technology. I'm not good at it necessarily, but I write about it and I can see where it's going. And so my son will always read these and say, oh yeah, but that already exists. That's called Snapchat.
Yeah, find me an 8-year-old to help plug in the VCR. That was what we did in our day. Very quickly, the previous collection, is there a story from that collection been made into a movie?
It sure is. After Yang, the story is Saying Goodbye to Yang, and the movie After Yang is coming out this year with Colin Farrell, and it'll be all around the world.
Congratulations. After Yang. Every story in this book would make a great movie or film of some kind, but they make great short stories. Congrats for writing this here. I believe you're going to read some from it.
I am.
Alexander Weinstein, y'all.
So I'm going to read the story, We Only Wanted Their Happiness. We never should have opened our hearts to their tears, but how can you say no to your children? And when they asked why, we told them it was dangerous. They were only 5, 8, 10, they were kids. Wasn't it enough that they had their smartphones, their tablets, their virtual reality consoles, their screens upon screens upon screens? But our children kept asking. Every birthday, when they unwrapped their gifts of more electronics, we saw their disappointment. Why couldn't they have it? They asked over breakfast, over lunch, over dinner. They asked when we picked them up from school or went grocery shopping. And we spent hours repeating our reasons only to be asked again when we tucked them into bed at night. Maybe in retrospect, we agreed simply to get them to stop asking. One could always have it removed, we reasoned, and we turned to our husbands and wives, our companions who should have stopped us. But they too were exhausted from all the pleading. Most days we spent checking texts with a compulsion of chain smokers or searching for funny memes as if seeking the Holy Grail. At the end of the day, all we wanted was a couple hours of uninterrupted scrolling. And so we scheduled appointments for our children's birthdays, or grandparents promised our kids the gifts. We know it's expensive, our parents told us, but we wanted to spoil them. And then what could we do? When our children heard the news, their faces were as joyous as if they'd been given a kitten. The surgery was as painless as promised. A small handheld injector, no larger than a pocket flashlight, was pressed to our children's temples. Count to 3, the technician instructed. 1, 2. Our children winced. A couple tears appeared in the corners of their eyes, and then it was done. They opened their eyes looking slightly dazed, and we took them out for ice cream, told them they'd been brave. At home, we let them rest in bed, watched for symptoms, feared the worst, but they just lay in their dark rooms, their eyes shining. And finally, they yawned and stretched their arms and blinked on their inner connections. They talked so much in those first weeks. We couldn't stop them. They talked upon waking. They talked in the shower, at breakfast, on the way to school, their small voices ringing out as if they were using their words for the last time. They narrated nonstop from back seats as they navigated the ether between their brains and our world, interacting with the animated animals that floated invisibly in the air. We grew tired of their ongoing laughter, their joy which excluded us. Please, we said, we just want a moment with you. Ha! They laughed and told us they'd placed filters over our faces. We suddenly had giraffe ossicones, cat ears, and dog noses. Ha ha! Now we had horse teeth, now fish lips. Speech bubbles emerged from our mouths when we told our kids to please turn off their browsers. It was time for dinner. Ha! They couldn't hear what we were saying. They turned our voices into bird chirps. Please, we asked them again, aware of the helplessness in our voices. We need you to turn off your connections. And finally, they blinked and told us they had. But when they giggled during dinner, how could we be sure they closed anything down? Then, all of a sudden, our children fell silent. We watched as they crouched in the middle of the carpet for hours, entertained by nothing, it seemed. They sat alone in their rooms, their hands building invisible castles. When we asked them once, twice, 3 times, what were they doing? They told us with frustration to please be quiet. They were trying to concentrate. Our houses became silent again, and our children stopped asking for things, only for our credit cards, which they needed to purchase upgrades. No, we said. Please, they asked. No, we repeated. We weren't about to put our credit card numbers into the ether, but they cried and they yelled at us. And when they wouldn't relent, we finally read the numbers and expiration dates off our cards. We attempted to tell our children about the benefits of having some online time, an hour or 2, even a couple of minutes, just to take a walk, to ride a bicycle, to play in the snow or watch springtime lightning storms. We printed up contracts with consequences for spending too long online, had our children sign on the dotted lines, forced them to make promises that were never fulfilled. We begged, we pleaded. They told us they understood. Then they went back to their rooms to build invisible cities. Their grades plummeted, all the homework was in the ether, and we watched them moving their hands in the air, looking no different than when they played online games. It sure didn't seem like math, but how could we check? We petitioned the school, wrote letters to the Board of Education, launched isolated but vocal resistance at PTA meetings. Online education was fine, we said, but could we go back to tablets and laptops? We were patiently listened to by kindly educators who all nodded their implanted heads. They smiled at us with illuminated eyes and shared the good news. Our school STEM program had just received a grant for low-income implantation. Philanthropically minded tech foundations would be offering free online textbooks. Soon our district would be completely implanted, the libraries of the world as accessible to our children's brains as the back of their eyes. Why didn't anyone understand? Our children needed sleep. Late at night, they lay in the darkness of their bedrooms, wide-eyed and grinning. Go to sleep, we told them. They needed rest. They were children. And yet, were they? Their minds now accessed every history lesson, every blog, every Googled answer to any argument we had. They long ago had surpassed us. Go to sleep, we yelled, and immediately felt horrible about our parenting. Later, we'd peek into their room, see their closed eyes, their faces reminding us of the toddlers we once knew, and we'd sigh with relief. Yet how could we be sure they were sleeping? We decided to have the chips removed. We returned to the store, we waded through the endless lines, only to have a young technician hand us a pamphlet portraying two sad-looking teenagers. Yes, we could have the chips removed, but removal came with disastrous side effects: anxiety, social isolation, depression, suicide. We were reminded about our service contracts, the ones we'd signed but had never actually read. Are you kidding? We asked when the young salesperson showed us the contract. Would we really be paying this off for the next 5 years? Yes, the boy said. Even if the chip was removed? Yes, he said. What if we canceled our plan? We'd still be paying it off, he told us, smiling gently. We searched online. We found blogs by parents explaining the tedious process of creating parental blocks. All we had to do was sync our accounts by left blinking and scrolling right with our eyes. We stopped reading and typed parental blocks for parents without implants. We searched, we Googled, we navigated dead hyperlinks, we called toll-free numbers and sat on hold for hours simply to ask about setting up a password to our children's accounts. And at long last, a few of us succeeded in placing blocks on our children's usage. Our children found ways around them easily. We became vigilant. We canceled the connections to our apartments, opened our fuse boxes, shut off the electricity, and sat in the candlelight with our furious children. They yelled at us, but we informed them that we weren't going to relent. This was for their own good. We were their parents, we said, and we stood strong against them. It was only then, when we'd mounted our counteroffensive and held our ground, that our children retaliated. How they gained access to our passwords, we have no clue. But here was a list of our past search histories and the emails we'd sent when we complained about bosses or neighbors or parents or friends. Here were the porn sites we'd visited, the sexts sent to our partners. Here were databases upon databases of our most shameful secrets tallied and collated. Our children stood in our living rooms. Did we understand how easy it would be for them to share this info with the world? They asked. They could make our private lives public with nothing more than Wi-Fi and a single blink of their eyes. You can't do this, we told them. Of course we can, they said, looking at us as if we were toddlers. Please, we said, don't do this. And they smiled. Thank you.
Alexander Weinstein, y'all. Alexander Weinstein. Universal Love from Henry Holt. Alexander will join us after the show, visit some more signed copies of that book, and continue to creep us out. That is so great. Man, you can just see it, too. Like I say, it has enough whiff of plausibility to really be scary. Congrats on that movie, Colin Farrell. Yeah, he's dreamy. All right, Stephen Chopek, you've moved around a little bit in your career. You haven't hopped the continents quite like our previous guest, but you Jersey City to Memphis. That's a nice move.
Correct, yeah. About 6 years ago, moved from New Jersey down to Tennessee.
It's a fine music town, that Memphis is not. Yeah.
It's great,
Your previous CD, named one by the Memphis Flyer, one of the best of the year, Begin the Glimmer. Is that correct? 2018?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you have a brand new one where you're covering the Pogues.
Yep, and I have an EP, the great Irish band, the Pogues.
Yeah, Songs of Shane, Volume 1, Music of the Pogues. And on both of your releases, you play all the instruments. Is that right?
Correct, yep.
Man, you are the man.
Not at the same time, but you know.
Really like to see that. Even GWA can't do that. All right, y'all please welcome Stephen Chopek.
Sunday, March 1964, anchors up and all aboard, on a mission to transmit, sail away with a pirate ship. London swinging Carnaby Street, Mud Rock or Mercy Beach, all together on King's Road. Let's ready, steady, go, Radio Caroline, on the arrow of the time. Soothe your soul, calm down the mind, turn that dial to number 199. Welcome to the frequency, black sheep of a royal family. Sing along, spinning DJ, broadcast, not fade away. Music makes the harbor lights blink. Housewives don't know what to think. Test run stops a TV show. No such thing as video. Radio Caroline, on the air all of the time. Soothe your soul, calm down the mind, turn that dial to number 199. Tonight let's all make loving awareness. BBC won't play it, we could care less. Pledge allegiance to Union Jack. Jolly Roger says we're under attack. We all know the Queen saves in the cavern and on the waves. Alright kid, it's a revolution. Be proud of your noise pollution. Take psychedelic to Savile Row. Read all about it in the Echo. Radio Caroline, on the arrow of time. Soothe your soul, calm down the mind, turn that dial to number 199. Radio Caroline, Radio Caroline. Thank you very much. A song of mine called Radio Caroline from that new album, Begin the Glimmer, and this is a brand new one that I released around the time of Valentine's Day. It's called Since We Got Together. Shortest distance between you and me, so much further than I'd like to be. Need to see him now, but the clock moves way too slow. Before we met, my spark would not flame. All my beginnings ended the same. Had so much time, but nowhere to go. Everything is better since we got together. Now I know why the church bells ring, what makes a lovebird sing. Grass is always greener on my side. Traded in those runaround blues for a pair of slow dancing shoes. I've seen the light, my eyes are open wide. everything. Everything is better since we got together. Goodbye, long sad nights alone. No more sinking like a stone. Now I know why the church bells ring and what makes a lovebird sing. Everything, everything is better since we got together. Thank you. So this next song here is about a dream that I had about Johnny Cash and James Dean meeting, which I'm not sure if it ever happened, but it happened in my dreams, so that counts. And it's the B-side. That first song, Radio Carolina, released a record, a 45 RPM vinyl single. A-side is Radio Carolina, B-side is this song right here. I got them out front there along with the record, Begin the Glimmer, and some other goodies. You want to check them out? Come say hi, sign the mailing list. It's called The Ballad of Cash and Dean. Thank you very much. My name is Stephen Chopek. Thanks for having me. Came to me in a dream, Johnny Cash said goodbye to James Dean. James was just a kid, Johnny a young man, knowing not what they did, neither had a plan. Somehow they both knew one would not make it through, lose that racing game. Still the screen would never be the same. Came to me in a dream, Johnny Cash said goodbye to James Dean. Bid farewell until further notice. There had been many friends, these two were closest. Cash wore black when he heard the news. Angels of the city had lost their muse. Came to me in a dream, Johnny Cash said goodbye to James Dean, sending chills through me as I lay there in bed, like a scene from a movie, and not a tear was shed. One last chance to make their voices heard. No song or dance and barely a word. Leave the light behind for a date with the devil. Entertain the prisoners and play the rebel. Came to me in a dream, Johnny Cash said goodbye to James Dean. Oh, it came to me in a dream, Johnny Cash said goodbye to James Dean. Came to me in a dream, Johnny Cash said goodbye to James Dean. Thank you very much. Thank you. My name is Stephen Chopek. Thank you. See you next time. Thank you.
Stephen Chopek, y'all. Let him hear you. Stephen Chopek. Thank you so much, Stephen. Songs of Shane, Volume 1, Music by the Pogues is his latest EP. As he mentioned, he brought some copies. Thanks to all of our guests one more time, if you don't mind. Jawan Lee, fine fiddle, violin. There she is. Stephen Chopek one more time. Alexander Weinstein, Universal Love. Your phone is coming to get you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back here next week. Hope you can join us. Another fine show lined up. Sean Dietrich will be here. Do y'all know the podcast Sean of the South? Sean of the South. He writes about everyday experiences, puts a wonderful twist on it, almost maybe a Louis Broussard type. He has a memoir out called Will the Circle Be Unbroken? Beautiful title. Sean will be here next week. We'll have music from Caleb Garrett, who's one of those guitar players. You can't even see his fingers moving. From Georgia, he'll be here. And from Austin, Texas, a fine music town, we'll have songwriter Rebecca Loby will be here. So that's a fine, full show, as we had tonight. Thank y'all for being a part of it. We'll see you next week, and see you on the radio.
Sitting on top of the world. She called me up.